Connolly. It is good to meet with you today as we discuss Erin and how well she is doing in my class. Erin is one of my model students. She's quick to observe the rules and the expectations that are set for her. She has a good relationship with her classmates, which I have seen as she plays on the playground and when she plays in class, either before school starts or between assignments. She is always getting along with students. She is always one of the first ones to finish her work. She's not always the first one to share her thoughts, but when she does share her thoughts and opinions, they're always on task and they always contribute to the instructions. So I'm very grateful for her thoughts and her input. Erin is pretty advanced in her literary abilities, as shown in her reading level, her recognition of sight words, and her ability to spell using advanced spelling rules. In this semester, we have done a few assessments. We've done a Burke reading interview, which allowed me to determine how she thinks of herself as a reader and to understand a little bit more about who she thinks is a good reader, who are models for her, and what kinds of things she does when she comes across a word she doesn't know. We also did 3 running records, which are just assessments that determine fluency and accuracy during reading, and 3 retelling assessments after each one of those running records. And that has just let me know how well she's comprehending the things that she is reading. We also took a look at some high-frequency words, or they're also known as sight words, common words that are seen in reading that are sometimes hard to sound out. I also have a couple of writing samples from Erin's writing journal. She writes in her journal every day, and so I just took a couple of those samples to kind of determine how she's doing with writing. And we did a spelling test to see how well she can apply the rules of phonics to spelling common words. In each of those assessments, Erin really showed great improvement from the beginning of the year. In the spelling test, I can see that she is aware of several phonics rules that dictate spelling, and this is seen in the spelling interview. Let me see if I can, well, I guess it doesn't matter. She is aware of beginning and ending consonant sounds. So, for example, in the word cat, she understands that the k sound is represented by a C and that the t sound is represented by a T. She can understand short vowel sounds like a, e, as well as consonant digraphs, which are combinations like sh, which make sh, or ch, which makes ch. And she is fairly good at recognizing consonant blends. So, for example, BL makes a bull sound. She's really, really very good at determining those patterns, as is seen in the spelling inventory test that we did. The next thing that I want to help Erin accomplish with her spelling is to recognize long vowel patterns, words that are CVCE, so words like make, M-A-K-E, where the silent E makes the vowel say its name. That's the very next step that we're going to work on with Erin to help her improve with her spelling. Erin is also very advanced as an emergent writer. She averaged at a level 4 for language level. Let me see if I show you, this is an example of the assessment form I used to determine how Erin was doing with her writing. She is at a language level of 4, so she can write simple sentences using correct punctuation and capitalization. She can spell her sight words correctly. One thing that I'm really impressed is that Erin can record her own ideas, so she doesn't always copy what I write on the board when I model the journal every day. She can write her own thoughts and dictate those appropriately. And she has a really good understanding of how writing goes, so left to right, top to bottom. She knows how to navigate her way through writing. The next thing that I want to work on to improve her writing even more is to get her working on writing more than one sentence at a time. She has very cohesive thoughts, and I think with just a little bit of pushing, I can help her to think of supporting sentences that will help her writing become a little bit more advanced. And finally, we did a high-frequency word test. There were four sheets that each had 9 words, and she accurately identified 35 of those 36 high-frequency words. So she is doing very well recognizing sight words. We do go over some sight words in class that weren't included in that assessment, and so I know that she knows even more words than what was on the assessment. For me to help her improve with recognizing more of those high frequency and sight words, I'm just going to keep going with teaching explicitly different sight words like down or little, so that she knows and can start to recognize those words as she comes across them. One thing that can help at home to be help Erin be more exposed to those complex sight words is, as you're reading, if you read aloud to her and kind of point out words that she may not know, words that are kind of hard to just sound out, and just focus on those words and emphasize the spelling of those words. I think that would really help. Just with the exposure, she may not get it immediately, but I believe as she's more exposed to it, she will be able to get it. I'm sorry, I have an itchy nose. One thing that I really want to work on with Erin is something that I found out when I was doing the running records assessment. She read for me a level D book as her last assessment. The previous assessments were level C books. So this level D book was a little bit tougher. It had more words. It had longer words that may be harder to sound out. And what I noticed is that Erin will frequently use the onset or the very first sound of the word to kind of guess what the word is if she doesn't know what it is. So for example, she said she replaced many with maybe, or mist with mountain, or most with must. And some of those, like with the replacing mist with mountain, that was partly because the image for that particular sentence showed a waterfall in the mountain. So you can see how she would confuse mist for mountain if she's also using the images and the pictures to help her decode what she is reading. So what I want to do to help Erin identify those challenging words that she doesn't really know is to go over vocabulary that she might not be familiar with before she reads a book. That could be writing the words together. It could just be pointing out the word and saying, this word is mountain. Or if it's a word that she might not know, like maybe, and she probably knows what maybe means, but if it's a word that she doesn't know what it means, explaining exactly what that means and where she might find it. As she's exposed to those higher vocabulary words, I believe that she will be able to identify them quicker at the onset of reading. And so that's something that I'm going to be working on in class with her, is just recognizing and sorting through those vocabulary words right as she is beginning to read. Something that I would recommend for you as parents to do for Erin to help her identify words that she doesn't know is maybe pick those words that she might not be familiar with, like mountain or mist or air, and sort them alphabetically so that she can kind of see the similarities that some of those words have, but then to also create a picture or an image that goes along with that word so that she can see how the spelling is different from other words, but also how the meaning is different. And as you go through those words with her, I believe as she sees those words in text that she will understand a little bit more how to sort through those words that she might not know very well. And finally, one other thing that I kind of want to work on with Erin, she is advancing really well in her reading and comprehension. That is shown through the retelling assessments that I gave her after each running record. She can identify key elements and details. However, the books that she is reading on her own don't really have a very complex plot line. And so I'm not sure how well she can identify what happens at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So what we're going to do in class is we're going to create a unit around a read aloud. The book that we're going to read is called Whoosh with the Wind. So if you want to check out that book from the library and kind of read it at home with her, that would probably be helpful. So how that's going to work, that book is a little more complicated than what she can read on her own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it out loud and help her and the other students learn how to identify what are beginning, middle, and ending points to that story. But maybe if you want to kind of go through that with her at home too, something that might help is if you as parents have a role and then you give Erin a role. So for example, if you as parents are looking for beginning elements or ending elements, Erin can look for things that happen in the middle. And so after you finish reading the book, Erin can kind of explain what she is doing or what she noticed about the middle details, and you can cap that with the beginning and the ending details. And I think just those little exposures to beginning, middle, and end will help her comprehend a little bit more what she is learning, what she is comprehending, what she's reading. So help her comprehend what she is reading. Overall, I really enjoy having Erin in class. She's very bright and she picks up on instruction very quickly, and she's often a good example for her peers, whether it be in academics or socially. She often reminds her peers of classroom rules. For example, the other day we were sitting on the rug and everybody was kind of shouting out their answers, and Erin raised her hand, and after I called on her, she said, everything works a lot better when students raise their hand to share their ideas. And I just had to chuckle because she's so good at kind of helping everybody remember the rules and expectations of the classroom, which I am very grateful for. She always tries to do well in school, and she has a lot of potential, and I believe with the right kind of support at school and at home, she will be ready to go to first grade in a couple of months. So I'm excited to see that change in her. Once again, thank you for coming, Mr. and Mrs. Connolly, and I hope that if you have any questions that you will let me know. And I look forward to seeing you at our next conference. Bye.